Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to these underappreciated ships by the Star Citizen community. And today I wanted to go completely opposite of what we've talked about before. So we've taken a look at sort of industry type ships a couple of times with our Hull series. It's quite transportation, it's quite industry heavy, or it could be pirate heavy if you look at it from the transporting cargo that's not your sort of route of things. It could be smuggling, but when it comes to the hull, pretty much industry, because I don't think a hull's going to be going and doing pirating. But again, we're getting distracted here. So we've looked at industry a lot, we've looked at the industry starters, and we've looked at the Crucible, which is an industry ship as well. So I wanted to take a look at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I wanted to take a look at something more combat orientated. And you thought, you know what? Let's go as big as possible. Let's get big fleet battles combat like worthiness and look at that and see what I feel is the most underappreciated ship in that sort of side of things. And that is the Perseus. The Perseus. And a lot of people are instantly going to be like, what? But this, I'm not saying the Perseus is the best ship when it comes to fleet battles. I'm saying the most underappreciated ship when it comes to fleet battles. We'll pull up the Perseus's information just now and we'll take a quick look at it. Here we are here, the Perseus. It is a rather large ship by Robert Space Industries. Its role is a gunship. I feel that role is kind of wrong. It feels it's gunship, I suppose. Yeah, we'll go with gunship. And it's got two size 7 turrets with two size 7 guns on each. That is some of the biggest guns that we have access to as players at this point in time. Like, there is. And then it's got 2 remote turrets with size 3 Gatling for trying to keep the little pesky fighters off it. And that is kind of its biggest weak point here, is that it doesn't have a lot of anti-fighter firepower. Whereas it's got a lot of very big anti-capital ship power. And it's got some torpedoes here, lots of torpedoes. They could really help until it runs out of torpedoes. They're size 5s. It's got, yeah, that's not really against fighters either. That's more middle ground. Yes, there a lot of firepower. We've also got all its thrusters and stuff, and its avionics and stuff. That's really not. 2 size 3 shield generators, power plant readers, nothing else really exceptional to write home about. And come over here, a crew of 3. Boom! A crew of 3. And that is 1 person on the turrets each, and then 1 on the 2 main turrets, and then 1 file-eyeing the damn thing. And I can't remember, can we see from this picture here? Don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, I thought the remote turrets. Yeah, there's one of the remote turrets there. They will probably be automated, these little anti-fighter screens, probably more for shooting down missiles and trying to protect you from fighters and being your main things. It'll be these, this will be the guns, your players will be on these big ones here. Those bad boys. Oh, wrong way. Get back here. So yes, this is a ship that when it came out, everyone was really hyped to see the information for it. But the second it came out, people were like, this ship sucks. Like, if you throw that in the verse right now, it'll just, yeah, it's almost worthless. It can't even take out fighters. Yeah, it's able to punch and like deal good damage to stuff bigger than itself, but it's can't even take out fighters. And I think this is where we're getting to the main theme of our underappreciated ships here. The ships that are underappreciated, it wouldn't be possible for them to reach their maximum potential in the game in its current state. Because what is 90% of the stuff you're fighting in the game at the moment? It's fighters, other fighters. This ship's weakness is fighters. When it comes to battles, players versus player, it's fighters is the biggest scale we can get. We can get on foot and we can get fighters. You can have orgs group up and have like a couple of hammerheads duke it out, but again, it's anti-fighter firepower that is being thrown at each other. It's all about fighters really at the moment. Fighters, fighters, fighters. And then when we get Xenothreat and we're fighting off against Xenothreat, that's when the stuff like the Retaliators can show their value a bit. And I think this ship would show its value in a Xenothreat type situation a wee bit better. But again, for the most part, the only thing this is really good at in the game at the moment is taking out hammerheads. It's... yeah, that's the only thing it'd be good at. So when it comes to fleet-on-fleet battles, it's... meh. But I foresee a very, very, very different future for this ship. I see this ship as being an amazing yin and yang with the hammerhead. Because what's the hammerhead's biggest weakness? Ships its size and bigger. It can't deal with ships its size and bigger. So if you team one of these up with a hammerhead, you've got a yin and yang situation going on there. One's like, they cover each other's weaknesses perfectly. That is also not the only reason I'm saying this ship is highly undervalued. I think it is going to be the backbone of a lot of fleet-on-fleet engagements. Because when you think about it, like it's a grunt. It's durable, it's got a lot of firepower that punches really hard. So when you're talking about fleet-on-fleet battles, where this is going to be one of the small, not including fighters of course, but this is going to be one of the smaller ships in the engagement. Yeah. Like imagine two orgs, they've got massive fleets, they're just having a big battle for fun. They bring a carrier and a battleships as their ultimate, what was it, like their one carrier, one battleship is their capital ships, their core, their everything is around them, and then they bring like Perseuses to be their sort of fill in the gaps between kind of thing, to be the main bulk of the fleet, to be the backbone, and then a couple of hammerheads for screening. Whereas, yeah, the hammerheads will be great at screening the fleet from fighters. These guys will be better at being this sort of gravy, if the gravy filling the whole area. I'm wording it badly, but you can get what I'm trying to say. The basic grunt in the fleet. Like when you see like old war films of World War II, like you'd have the carrier, then it'd have a fleet around it of like 4 or 5 smaller ships to protect it, an escort fleet. The carrier was the big thing, the scary thing that was moving around. Then it had an escort fleet of like this, and this is what I see as being one of the members of the escort fleet. You could maybe then have a carrier with 2 Perseuses and 2 hammerheads, perfect. Or it's a grunt. It's a good, hard-hitting, solid grunt. And that crew capacity of 3 is amazing. Having this much power for 3 crew members. This much power that is not appreciated in the current state of the game. Because by not appreciated, I mean it's not needed in the current state of the game. But when ships this size become common, that is when I think things are going to drastically change things up. When orgs are fighting it out with capital ships, not with the biggest ships being like hammerheads. And yeah, that is when things are drastically going to change. Yes, one bomber wave on this ship alone would absolutely cripple it, but it's a basic grunt. If a carrier sent, what is it, a bomber out to attack, like a bomber wave out to attack anything that was a basic grunt in the enemy fleet, you'd expect it to cripple it. That's why you'd want something like hammerheads nearby as well to be that yin and yang we were talking about earlier. Yeah. I just think it'll be amazing for that. One of the main... But that is only in fleet-on-fleet combats. I don't think this ship will be great in other situations. If you're more of a run, going it solo, not going it solo, but not looking for a fleet battle, I'm completely losing my train of thought here now. So yeah, we'll go back to square one here. Really good in fleet battles. And it's really good as an escort, a part of an escort fleet. Got that punch. it's going to need to... The enemy are going to need so much more to come and tackle you if you've got something like a Perseus watching your back, especially if it's a Perseus and a Hammerhead in your escort fleet. They're going to need so much. You're going to need to bring so much more. They're going to need to bring much bigger caliber of ships, or much more numbers of ships, if they want to just completely blow you away and ambush you. Big ambush predator type stuff going on, and to take you by surprise with you being unprepared with your pants down. That's going to be so much harder if you've got one of these watching your back, and I mean a lot harder. One of the reasons I've seen people say that this ship was completely worthless is because they were comparing it to... Let's go down. I can find it. What even ship was I looking for again? I wish I had been more ready for this, but I'm low on time. Polaris, that's what I'm looking. Yeah. There we go, the Polaris. 1/24. Yeah. I do not see this. They're comparing the Perseus to the Polaris, and I think that is extremely unfair, which is one of the main reasons people say that this ship, the Perseus, sucks. But then if you take a look at crew, 1/24 for the Polaris. You need a lot more bodies to get the Polaris to go. To me, the Polaris is much more of a flagship. It's the center of attention. The Perseus is not meant to be the center of attention. It's not meant to be. As I said, it's a grunt. We need to stop thinking of it as this big... That's the reason people are undervaluing it so much. Because even though they are thinking ahead and thinking to the future, they're like, oh, why would you ever take a Perseus when you can take a Polaris? Stuff like this. Much larger crew requirements required. Polaris is a flagship. It's a center of attention. It is great for military expeditions. It is great. I'd argue it's only okay as an escort compared to the Perseus because it's got that large crew capacity. Like, talking about crew capacity alone, you could have several Perseuses and Hammerheads covering your back for one Polaris. So yeah, this is much more, as I was saying, a flagship. You could have like maybe a Polaris and then 2 Perseuses, 2 Hammerheads, then that's got your little solid fleet there. The Polaris being the flagship, the capital ship. Well, it's not really a capital ship, but you know what I'm trying to say is... Take a look at it. A lot of this is to be decided, subject to change. At the moment it has a... It is all to be decided here, but... size 5s, 2 per mount. Size 4s, 2 times 5. Size 4s, 2 times 1. Torpedo bay. The torpedo bay on this thing will be great. But yeah, we're not here to talk about the Polaris. Yeah. Up back to... Oh, press play. As we just round things off. Yeah. I'm trying to think, have you got any suggestions for what ships you'd like me to talk about next? Or if you have any other suggestions for something similar to talk about in Star Citizen, let me know down below. We took quite a different look at things today. I wanted to make it as all different as possible. So we went for the combat. I got quite tongue-tied. I've been trying to make these more loosey-goosey. I feel like I'd failed a wee bit today. I feel like I should have been a bit more prepared. So from now on I might go somewhere in the middle, because I did try and do fully scripted. And I feel like I fell flat on my face. And then I tried to do partially scripted. And then when I was trying to get back into the gist of things, I tried to just do it completely off the cusp. And I feel like I've completely fallen flat on my face here today. So I think from now on I'm going to do it sort of partially scripted again. Where I've just sort of got bullet points. I'll try and keep myself on track. Yeah, anyway. Any information you want to talk about, anything you want to let me know, have any suggestions, let me know down below. Do you agree? Is the Perseus going to be valued so much more in the future? Again, for the 100th time, I'm not saying it is going to be the be-all and the end-all. I'm just saying it's a ship that's pretty much everyone's like, meh, just throw it away. It is undervalued. It is going to be an okay ship. It's going to be good at its role. It's not going to be the be-all and end-all. It just needs a bit more love than it is getting right now. But yes, hope you've all enjoyed this, and I shall see you all next time. Goodbye.